So the garden now is right in the middle of the season. We've had some beautiful weather this year, but do you ever give a thought to all of the hardy evergreens that keep the garden together no matter what the weather? They are the ones that keep the garden alive and looking good throughout the colder months. It's great to look at the plants like this throughout the season, in the summer, and also the bananas. But what about the dependable plants, the ones that are always here and always look good no matter what the weather? Well, I'm going to take you around the garden and show you my top 5 hardy evergreens that I use in my tropical garden. So looking now throughout the garden, and these plants are in no particular order, and I think one of the best plants for popping in to a tropical style garden has got to be the Aucuba, or the Carre as they are known. Beautiful plants, look like paint splashes on these, and these are really hardy, tough and resilient, and really look good in any garden. So they do like shade, and I've got a few of these throughout the garden, usually tucked at the back of borders. But this one is right in the centre, but it's underneath the Trachycarpus. So it does have quite a bit of shelter. So walking up the path, and you will see that they do come in a few different varieties. This one is a slightly different colour. Beautiful though. And you can see that I also use them in the shady areas, tucked in with the ferns. Lovely plants, and as I said, really hardy. Now the next sort of plants that I'm going to talk about are the Fatsias. Also come in different varieties. This one here is the Polycarpa. Again, love a shady spot, and this one is also known as green fingers, as they've got lovely long fingers on the leaves. Beautiful, just look at that. So this one here is an ordinary Fatsia, and you can see that they've got a different shape of leaf. So they can be trimmed back pretty harsh, and they always grow back. This one, I've taken the top off a few times and it still keeps on sprouting, and they don't take long for these leaves to size up. And you can see here on this branch that that is an example of how I have trimmed all of the lower leaves off this, and it still sprouts back with new growth. So a really reliable plant, these. And a lovely example there of a smaller Fatsia Japonica, and that is just the ordinary variety. And just in the centre of the garden, you'll see that I've got growing a Fatsia spider's web. And these have got variegated leaves and definitely prefer the shadier areas of the garden. But again, no protection whatsoever on these plants throughout the winter. So number 3 that I'm going to choose is the Mahonia. Now I've got a few of these in the garden also, and this one here is a Mahonia soft caress, and these have got beautiful soft leaves to them. And here's another one which I've got growing in a shady area, and these aren't to be confused with the type of Mahonia that have got really spiky leaves. These are lovely and soft, and they do grow up to be quite a size in the garden. And there's another little one in the middle of the border here. And this one is a Mahonia Confusa. Now this will take a little bit more sun than the other types, but it does prefer shade. But again, lovely leaf on that. Now the fourth plant that I'm going to choose for the tropical garden is not tropical at all, and I think most people do tend to overlook it, and that is a Photinia. People seem to see these as more of a hedging plant, but when these come out with their new growth in spring, wonderful display of red leaves on the new growth. Really is a lovely plant. This one here is a Photinia Carre Rouge. Beautiful. The leaves are a little bit smaller than the original Red Robin. Now I do have different varieties of these just dotted throughout the borders, and I think the variegated leaves do give a lovely pop of colour in the garden. Now Nandinas, again another fantastic shrub. These do grow quite tall, but they can be pruned to size. Evergreen, virtually no care at all. This is the largest one that I've got in the garden, and this one is probably about 3.5 to 4 foot tall now. It's never really been trimmed, but it's a lovely plant, and I don't really look after it apart from a little bit of water through the drier spells. This one here is a lot smaller, and this is a Nandina lemon and lime. And the one that I think is beautiful in colour, if we just go down the garden a little bit further, you'll see that this particular one here, so I've got a few of them in the garden, these are Nandina Obsessed, and they've got a little bit more red colour to them. So these are still quite small. These were only planted out this season. And if I just turn around the other side, you'll see that there's another Nandina there. So I think, to be honest, these are the plants that I tend to plant the most of in the garden. Now lastly, I think that no tropical garden would be complete without a Schefflera. Now there's a few different types around, but this one is the Schefflera Taiwaniana. This particular plant I think has been in for about 3 years. Beautiful leaves on that. Fully hardy. I planted mine out in a very small size, and it pulled through that winter. It was fine, and it's an absolutely stunning plant now in the garden, and I know this is going to grow into more of a small tree. But this is in quite dappled shade here, but it seems to enjoy where I've got it in the garden. And I am also going to throw in a cheeky bonus plant for you as well. This one is a Euphorbia. This one here is the Euphorbia John Phillips, and it really is a wonderful plant in the garden. But just remember, if you're going to plant one of these, you need a good bit of space for it. This particular plant is only a few years old. It's been in the garden for about 4 years, but it's already reaching 5 foot high and about 7 foot across. It really is a monster of a Euphorbia. And here is an example of something a little bit smaller. This one is a Euphorbia honey pot. Now this one was planted only this year, but I think this one is going to grow to be quite a large plant, but there's plenty of space here for it. It's doing well, considering it's only in its first year. So you can see now that at the end of July, as I said, we're in the middle of the season now, that the garden is looking pretty full. There's plenty of different plants in here, and we've always got the Cordylines and the palm trees here, but the plants that I've been talking about today are just the ones that give that extra little bit of interest throughout the colder months. So the list of plants that I could have chosen could have gone on and on. I'm also a really big fan of these Pittosporum here, the Bano Bay, and I've got quite a few of these dotted around the garden. So as I said, I could have chosen lots of other plants, but the ones that I have chosen I think are the most dependable plants for adding interest to a tropical style garden. We've also got the ferns, and some of these ferns are evergreen, so they stay looking lovely throughout the winter, but some of them are also deciduous, which means that they do die back to the ground each winter. I did say that I would keep you updated on what was growing out of the centre of mine. We'll just look at that now, 1 week later. Fantastic, it looks like a triffid. So is this going to be a flower or a fruit? This is completely new to me, but I do know that this now is the end of this poor plant. So I hope now that today's video has filled you with a little bit of inspiration for your own garden. So until next time, I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.